Authority when it comes down to equine cruelty and abuse, what you need to look for, what you need to know. Dr. Clara Mason, I can't even go through all of her accolades and recognitions, but you guys are going to be in great hands. If you have questions, just ask them at the end. But without further ado, Dr. Mason.
I'm a graduate of the University of Maryland's Johns Hopkins, went to vet school in Mississippi State. So just to explain this, we're all, as veterinarians, governed by the American Veterinary Medical Association. And so for the AVMA, they have 2 people from every walk of vet life on the welfare committee. So for instance, there's 2 from the cat world, 2 from the dog world, fish, aquatic, laboratory, horse, pig, whatever. There's 24 of us on this committee, and I'm very privileged to be one of the 2 people for the horse portion. So we help decide, for instance, spaying and declawing, whether it should be legal, illegal, what are the issues, how to deal with feral cats, are the swine crates big enough for these farrowing pigs? So those are all of our issues. Underneath of the AVMA, there's certain other subgroups, and one of which is the AAP. And that's the Equine Practitioners Group. And again, I'm very privileged to have the appointment to be one of 12 on that committee. So, for instance, when the slaughter issues come up, that's who helps decide, how do we navigate through those muddy waters. Right now, there's some hot topics with carriage horses in New York City and some of the other communities. You have people on both sides of it. So we try to stay middle of the road, but ultimately we look for the horse. Whatever benefits the horse benefits us. And then in 2010, I was very blessed and very honored to receive the Humane Society Award for the United States. We rescued 52 horses out of Wayne County. I don't know if you all remember that. It was a very high-profile case, and I can't thank the Humane Society enough for that. And I've written some chapters and some books and all. The only reason I have this slide up here is I just want to show you where we've come toward. A couple years ago, I was asked to author a chapter in a book, which is Protecting the Abused and Neglected Horses. Obviously, I'm not a photographer, but this is unheard of. First of all, I was very overwhelmed for them to ask. This is the #1 read horse textbook in vet schools in the entire world. And then it's the go-to book as a veterinarian. So for them to even acknowledge that horse abuse is out there and we can do something about it, good for them. Okay, so this slide has more information, all that you need to know. These are some good horse facts. First of all, horses cannot vomit and they cannot belch. Think about it. Whatever goes in their mouth has to come out the other end. Colic, which is a digestive upset, #1 cause of death in horses still. You cannot upset the proverbial apple cart. Horses are meant to eat hay and grass. That's it. Think about it. In the wild, horses never get grain. Grain's okay. If you have a horse you're trying to rehabilitate, though, if we take one of these seized horses and we need to feed it back, just give them hay. It doesn't even have to be good quality hay. They digest with bacteria. So unless you kind of kickstart that bacteria up, you're going to have a world of problems, like possibly a dead horse. The average horse, because people ask these questions, especially when you're on a abuse case, how many gallons of water should the horse drink? 10 to 20. They can drink more. They could possibly drink less, but that's a good number to go by. The more hay that they eat, the hotter it is outside, they're going to be towards the 20-gallon end. If they're an inside horse, they're not ridden much, maybe smaller animal, they're going to eat towards or drink towards the 10. Needs to be fresh water though. We often get told, my horse is skinny because he has worms. Well, first you can ask, well, okay, show me a fecal. Did you take a fecal into your vet and have them count the eggs? They say no. Then say, well, let me see your dewormers. Dewormers vary just like, I don't know, anything else you can purchase. And there is some resistance, but I will tell you with 100% certainty, skinny horses are not caused by worms. They may look a little unthrifty, maybe their dapples aren't out, maybe you feel you're feeding more than they should, or maybe they just don't have the spunk and get up and go, but worms do not cause thin horses. Horses require salt and minerals. In the wild, a horse walks 20 miles a day. I don't mean in a circle, I mean in straight lines. So if they say, hey, you know what, I'm a little anemic today, I need some iron, they instinctively know where to go to get that type of soil to eat or forage to graze to satisfy their nutrients. I don't care how good you take care of your horses. We'd like to think that we do the best for our horses. We still provide salt blocks and loose minerals. And just as an aside, this has nothing to do with abuse. There's two types of salt blocks out there. There's a white salt block and a brown one that says loose, or it says trace minerals. Stay away from the brown ones, and this is why. First of all, it's trace. That's the important word. So there's really not enough minerals in that. But if a horse needs, let's say, some copper, it starts licking that salt block. The first thing that's going to happen is they're going to take in too much salt. And their bodies are going to say, hey, dude, you need to quit and go find copper somewhere else. So we ask everyone, either provide a white salt block or some sort of Himalayan salt, and then provide loose minerals. They may not touch those minerals for a month, and then you'll go out there and they'll all be gone. So, average board costs in the state of West Virginia are about $400. Think about it. That's a lot of money. And at $400, you're not making much of a profit if you're doing it right. Hooves need trimming approximately every 8 weeks. In the wild, you know, they're walking, so they don't really need a farrier. And by the way, your horse does not have to have horseshoes. You only put horseshoes on if you're riding on hard surface or your horse has a condition on its feet that would warrant it. I'm only telling you this because these are crazy questions and retorts that we've gotten through the years from people when we talk to them about their horse. But when horses are confined, and sometimes they're confined in extremely small places, like half the size of this room, which would be like me locking you up in your bathroom all day, and their feet don't wear down normally, and then they start developing joint problems, and then they get stressed out and get stomach ulcers, and then they start losing weight, and it can all go down south from there. The most important thing I can tell you today is that horses are continuous grazers, meaning that 23 out of 24 hours a day, a horse is grazing. Think about it. Cattle, sheep, deer, they eat and then lay down, chew their cud, but not a horse. A horse secretes acid in its stomach about 23 to 24 hours a day. So you need something in there or they're going to digest their stomach lining. So that's one thing that we run into because people say, oh, I gave my horse 2 flakes of hay this morning, 2 tonight. Well, how long did it take them to eat it? About half an hour. And then the rest of the day they're just standing in their stall, just digesting their stomach. The digestive tract is designed to process hay and grass. A horse is sort of toggled between 2 worlds. They're sort of like us and a dog and a cat. They use some acid, and they're kind of like a cow, but they don't have a rumen. Our appendix is the same thing as their large colon, their cecum, which digests hay. So they start off in the beginning of their digestive tract in their stomach with acid, and by the time they get towards the back, they're like a cow. So you have to satisfy both. In keeping hay and grass in front of a horse, you'll hardly ever see a sick horse with digestive problems. And finally, my big speech is, just because it's green doesn't mean it's edible. That beautiful, gorgeous picture I took last year or so over on the river. It's beautiful, it's green, who wouldn't want to be there, but there's not one thing there for a horse to eat. It's weeds, it's trees, it's everything that a horse doesn't need. It needs pasture and hay. Back to that water source we were talking about, the man with 2 bathtubs. If you can see up there, I don't know where this, I don't know if the pointer's working. There it is. There's a big hole in the bottom of that tub. And that's where all the water was leaking out, and here's all the mud. So only the first couple of horses got to drink. There was 50 in this pasture. Don't forget about winter. We had one woman say, oh, my horse has plenty of water. I put it in the bucket every day. And then she went, actually did a gambling joint. And when she got home, if they got to drink before it froze, they were okay. But then they were left with this until the next day. And they can't do anything with that ice. So there really are no rules or laws or statutes on housing for horses. Although I will say that tying a horse to a stop sign is not acceptable. We've had one of those cases recently, the last couple of weeks. This is a beautiful barn. I'm not saying everybody needs this, we couldn't afford it, but it is a beautiful barn. What's good about this barn, there's good air circulation. Horses are herd animals. They want to be with each other, even though they're in separate stalls. And these horses can all see each other, which then if they're in the barn, they're okay. They're like, hey, my friend's over there. There's a feed bucket in the corner. Next to it, that little, it's not a very good picture, but there's a mineral salt container there. And so you can put your loose minerals and your salt, and of course the water is next to it. This is acceptable. This belongs to one of my clients. They don't, oh, the picture got cut up. The little pony hanging over the stall. This is an outside, what they call a shed row. It's not pretty, but the horse has protection from the elements. The door locks. It has clean sawdust. Next door, it can see its buddy, Saddlebred, standing there. And that Saddlebred has a blanket on just in case it may get a little too cold for it. So that's acceptable. My point to these are, you don't have to have the Taj Mahal for your horse. And this is acceptable. This is one of my favorite slides ever. This is one of my country clients, and she had one horse. Unfortunately, I just put it to sleep, but I took this picture a few years ago. She had her husband build this stall. This stall was rocking. It was 30 by 30. You can see it even has a curtain over the window. It had a fan, a heater, sawdust, 3 buckets, 3 different corners in case the horse got up, it wouldn't have to turn around. And
running water?
Yeah, we had water. Oh, she loves this horse. And my tech and I, we pulled up for our annual visit. This was a few years ago, and I went, oh, and she said, oh my God, Clara, look. They had spray painted my name and business, my office number on there. And I said, why did you do that? And she said, just in case somebody, walked by. She was on top of a mountain, so I never got past that story. But she said if Red was ever down, they knew who to call. And I thought, isn't that sweet? But that's acceptable. It's not pretty, but that horse had a great place to live. Okay, so the mouth of a horse is a real enigma. Nobody knows what's going on in there. Yeah, they have no clue. I hear crazy stories. But oral exams are very important. Sometimes the people are being honest. They are feeding their horse. The horse isn't getting the food, though, because its mouth is completely a mess. Horses chew like a mortar pestle. And when their teeth get in malocclusion, this is all you get. And they can't do anything with that. They don't crack the grain. They can't crack the hay. And it pretty much comes through undigested. So on an oral exam, if you can look, and most of the time you can't, I'm going to show you some things. First of all, on the slide on the left, that has nothing to do with an abuse case. That's just a tooth I wanted to show. A horse is born with teeth about this long. And they're up above the gum, they're underneath the eyeballs. As the horse ages, the tooth drops down. The reason is they're grazing animals. They're going to keep wearing these teeth down. So the good Lord gave this horse a lot of tooth. The problem is most horses don't have 20 miles to walk free land unless they live out west. And their teeth get out of balance, and then they can't chew, and their mouths get locked up. If you look at this picture here, and the light's kind of bad, on this corner tooth, there's a hook. and that hook is meeting the bottom tooth like this, and that horse can't open his mouth. So when he wanted to chew, he had to almost unhinge his mouth like a snake to get his food, and he ended up with TMJ and all kinds of problems. Another sign that you can tell, this is a young horse, 4.5 years old. 4.5-year-old horse is not even mature yet. They mature typically around 5 completely. His teeth are black because he's eating his own manure. They're eating their own manure because he did not have enough fiber or food to eat. So they have a bowel movement, turn around and re-eat it. They have to. I mean, otherwise their digestive tracts are going to shut down. That is not the only reason for black teeth. Kidney disease can cause black teeth, but kidney disease is quite rare in horses. You don't see it very often like you do dogs and cats. So if you start seeing bad teeth, black teeth, and it smells, here's your answer. The other thing to look at, what about neglect? Is the horse able to walk? I mean, if the horse can't walk, then we have a problem. They walk 20 miles a day. Why isn't the horse walking? If the horse has a dull demeanor, horses are happy. They're gregarious. They're herd animals. They want to see what you got. And if they're just standing there with their head down, they're not happy. Something's wrong. They may have stomach ulcers because they didn't have enough food. Open wounds. We see a lot of open wounds, or non-healing wounds. The owner said, "Oh, he cut himself a month ago," and I'm like, "Really? Should have healed 3 weeks ago." If they're not in good health, then they're not going to heal. Overgrown hooves, lameness, laminitis, hoof disease, another sign of neglect. Unkept coat, dandruff, and not shedding, especially the not shedding part. We'll have horses in the heat of summer with a winter coat on. They don't have any body stores. And then dental disease, fractured and chipped teeth. And these are all signs. And that little donkey at the top, donkeys are extremely hardy. Cockroaches and donkey will be here through the nuclear war. But when a donkey's skinny or sick or bad hair coat because they're not in good health, we have a real problem.